Hello, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Today, we're going to do a review of decimals and fractions. So, first example problem we have is 1.9 minus 21 plus 13.05. So, this one's already in all fractions for us, but I see a subtraction sign here. Oops. And it is super scary. So we know that we can't subtract a larger number. So instead, we have to add the opposite. So we're going to go ahead and do boom, boom. So I'm going to add the opposite, draw my two lines. And already it's going to do that. Okay. So now that I have my two lines drawn, I have here a positive. That's going to be a negative, and then I have a positive, okay? So we know our song, right? Same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract. Keep the sign of the biggest one, then you'll be exact. So same sign, add and keep. So these two are both positive numbers, so I'm going to group them or add them. So I'm going to start with 13.05. And then remember, when you're adding decimals, you must line up the decimal, 9. So I'm going to fill in a 0. 5 plus 0 is 5. 9 plus 0 is 9. 3 plus 1 is 4. 1 plus 0 is 1. And then bring down my decimal, okay? So now, if I rewrite my sentence or my equation, I have 14.95 plus a negative 21. Now, since I have to line up a decimal, this one doesn't have one, so you have to think about where's the decimal. Well, it's always at the right side or the end of the number, like a period's at the end of a sentence. So now I'm looking at my signs. Same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract. Okay, so I see different signs here, so I'm going to subtract. So I'm going to put the big number on top. And I'm going to fill in two decimals. And then I'm going to subtract the smaller number, 14.95. All right, this is where it gets a little tricky because I have to borrow because I can't do 0 minus 5. Nothing to borrow from here, so I'm going to borrow way over here. 1 minus 1, is 0. So this becomes 10, but I need to borrow one more time, so that's 9, and this is 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 9 is 0. Now I have 0 and 4. I can't do that, so here I go borrowing yet again. 10 minus 4 is 6, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So I have 6.05. But which number was bigger, right? My 21 was larger, so my answer is going to be negative 6.05. That is my answer. All right, so let's move along to number 2. So number 2 here is all in fractions. So I'm going to just go ahead and keep them in fractions. So when you have a fraction, think about what do we need? So first thing that we need is a common denominator, okay? So I'm going to start by checking out my multiples, okay? So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, then I have 8, 16, 24. Then I have 4. So 4, 8, 12. Looks like my smallest number here is going to be 8. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just rewrite my denominators. 8, 8, 8. Okay, and then I have, whoops. Okay, here we go again. Okay, so now, how do I get from 2 to 8? 2 times what is 8? 2 times 4. So what I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So 1 times 4 is 4. 4 over 8 plus 8 to 8, I keep it. So I'm going to keep my 3. And then 4 to 8 is times 2. So I have to do the same to the top. 1 times 2 is 2. Okay. Well, hang on, I see a subtraction sign, so I'm going to go ahead and add the opposite, right? I'm going to do boom, boom. All right. So I'm going to start with these first two, right? These first two have the same sign, right? They're both positive, so I'm going to add and keep. So 4 plus 3 is 7. And I keep my denominator of 8. And then it says plus a negative 2 over 8. So I see different signs here. So I'm going to subtract. So 7 minus 2 is 5. I'm going to keep the sign of the bigger number, which is 7. So it's going to be a positive 5 over 8. Okay. All right, so moving right along to these next two, you are able to decide if you want to change them all to fractions or decimals, right? Because there's a fraction and there's a decimal. So one thing to know is if it's a repeating decimal, you cannot change it to a decimal. So like 1/3 is a repeating decimal, 2/3 is a repeating decimal. Well, here I have 1 3/4. So if there's a 4 on the bottom, I just think about quarters, right? And if I have 3/4, I have how many cents? I have 75 cents. So I'm going to do 1.75 minus 5.5 plus 1. All right. So I see subtraction here, so I'm going to go ahead and do boom, boom. All right. Now I have a positive 1.75 and a positive 1. I have a negative 5.5. All right. So same sign, add and keep. So 1.75 plus 1. Okay. So if you need to line them up, you can. So 1.75 plus, and then the 1's not over here, right? Because my decimal and my 1 is to the right. So it'd be 1.0. So it's like we're adding $1 to $1.75. You just have another dollar bill. So now I have 2.75, okay, plus a negative 5.5. Okay, so I see different signs, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract. So I have 5.5 minus 2.75. I'm going to go ahead and fill in a 0. And I have a 0 up top, so I have to borrow. 5 minus 1 is 4. I have 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. Again, too small up top, so I'm going to borrow. 5 minus 1 is 4. 14 minus 7 is 7. 4 minus 2 is 2. Okay, so I have 275, but which number is bigger? Right here, my negative number is bigger. So my answer is going to be a negative 275. Okay. Over here, our answer was a positive 5/8. Okay. All right, so the last one, we have 5 1/6 plus 2/3 minus 4. All right, so I don't know what 1/6 is. So I don't know. I'm gonna chance it. I'm gonna go ahead and change them to fractions, okay? So I have 5 1/6, and then I have 2.3. So down here I have 0.3, and if you guys remember right, to change a decimal to a fraction, we draw a line, pull a 1 down from the decimal, and fill in. We have one number on top, so you're gonna put one number on the bottom, okay? So I have 5 1/6 plus 2 3/10 minus 4. Okay, so let's look at our multiples. So we have 6, 12, well 10 is the larger number. So let me start with that. So 10, 20, 30. Oh, maybe I could get to 30, right? 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. Oh, better, 30. Okay, not too bad. So I'm going to go ahead and make a denominator of 30. So I have 5 and something over 30 plus 2 something over 30 minus 4. I'm going to go ahead and, I don't like this subtraction here, so I'm going to go ahead and add the opposite. I'm going to do boom, boom. Okay, So 6 times what is 30? Well, 6 times 5 is 30. Have to do the same to the top. So 1 times 5 is 5. And then 10 times 3 is 30. So 3 times 3 is 9. All right. And these are both positive numbers here. So I'm going to go ahead and add them. Okay. So 5 plus 2 is 7. 9 plus 5 is 14 over 30. I have plus negative 4. Okay. So different signs. So I'm going to subtract. Okay. So 7 minus 4 is 3. And I actually didn't have to do anything with my fraction. Is it positive or negative? Positive, right? Because 7's bigger. So positive 3. Is that simplest form? No, because these are both even numbers, right? I can divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2. So I have 3 and 7 over 15, okay? And it's a positive answer. All right. So now that we have those practice problems done, let's take a look at some word problems. I know that's somewhere where sometimes we struggle. All right, it says, in a play during last week's football game, Miller scored 60 and 1/6 yards. The next play, they lost 20 and 2/3 yards. In the final play, they gained another 30 and 5/9 yards to win the game. What was the overall loss or gain? All right, so I want you guys to go ahead and press pause, and I want you to text code this word problem. Okay, so I went ahead and boxed, scored, lost, and gained because they tell me if the yardage is positive or negative, right? And then I circled my numbers and then the overall loss or gain. So that's all I need to underline because that's what I'm looking for. So now I want you guys to go ahead and write your equation to solve this problem. Okay, so we have 60 and a 6 minus 20 and 2/3 plus 30 and 5/9, all right? So don't forget, you see subtraction, we got to do boom, boom, and then we have 2/3, so you got to keep it as a fraction. So again, go ahead and press pause and try to solve it.